All right, good morning, everybody. I want to talk a little bit more about this controversy about secular studies in the Hasidic schools in New York, and in general in all of the Jewish schools and all the parochial schools of all different religions in New York, and how this could spread to other states as well. And I was interacting with some people on Twitter about this issue. And I want to make it clear, I couldn't care less whether certain schools want to teach more English and certain schools want to teach less English, certain schools want to teach no English. It's the prerogative of each school. What I find the most offensive is dragging the government into this, because this is America. This is a country that's founded on religious freedom, and if someone has a sincerely held religious belief, that's protected by the First Amendment. That trumps everything else. And I work in a prison. I'm a chaplain in a prison, and we're told as follows, and this is my perspective on this issue. It's not about whether or not I agree with a particular religious view, but whether or not such a religious view is sincerely held and thereby protected by the First Amendment. It doesn't have to, it could be a brand new religious view. The First Amendment protects the Universal Life Church with their right to ordain ministers online, or from comic books when it was in the 70s, before it was online, and that's protected by the First Amendment. The example that we're given in prison chaplaincy is as follows. A kosher meal, even in the state where I serve, which the kosher meals are Spartan and very, very minimal, but because they're served on disposable plates and other meals are not served on disposable plates, the cost is an average close to twice as much as a regular meal. And it's mostly because of the disposable plates. With that, so it's a cost to the taxpayer, and yet the courts have said that they have to give something, and in other states they might give something more than just what's given in the state where I work. But the state where I work, which is a great place to work, and they have probably one of the best DOCs in the country, but they don't serve any meat or fish or anything at a regular kosher meal. The guys can buy fish from commissary, and twice a year they have the opportunity to buy meat for a religious celebration, and other than that, there's nothing. It's pretty much peanut butter and jelly 3 times a day. It's just how it is, and that's the protein. It's peanut butter, and maybe once or twice a week they might get cottage cheese or something. But whatever it is, but it's still, despite that, it's more expensive because of the disposable plates. The kosher meals are more expensive whereas other states might be 3 or 4 times as expensive. In this particular state, it's about twice as expensive, a little bit less than twice as expensive as a regular meal. So discussing that issue, let's say, and the courts have ruled that it doesn't matter what religion you are, as long as you have a sincerely held religious belief, the state has to provide a kosher meal, has to provide kosher meals to an inmate. So this is the example that we're given. If somebody is is Roman Catholic, right, and they say that they need a kosher meal, and let's say we have a chaplain there in the prison, a Catholic deacon, which we have in our prison. Our full-time chaplain under me is a Catholic deacon, and he says, no, you don't need a kosher diet. What are you talking about? So he said, well, let's ask the priest. And the priest comes once a month to celebrate Mass, and the priest says, no, you don't need a kosher diet. And then they said, well, I asked the bishop, and they asked the bishop, and the bishop says, happens that the deacon's the bishop's right hand man. Whatever the bishop says, no, you don't need the kosher diet. He says, oh, I asked the cardinal. They asked the cardinal. The cardinal says, no, you don't need the kosher diet. Then they said, well, ask the pope, and the pope says he doesn't need the kosher diet. And the inmate still insists he needs a kosher diet, and he points to Leviticus. Who do you think wins if that would go to court? Meaning that they got all the way up to the Pope, and the Pope says he does not need a kosher diet, and the inmate says he does need a kosher diet. The courts will side with the inmate and award him the kosher diet. And the same would be with any other religion, Buddhist, Native American, whatever it is. That's, in fact, there was a court case that was won for a Native American inmate with this issue and so forth, and that is the that's what we have with the kosher diets in the prison. So it's the same thing here. Rabbi Mark Angel, God bless him, he's a nice person and I like him, but he's wrong in this area. He has no right to, and he knows this. That's what's shocking to me, because he is upset at what the Rabbanut is trying to do to the rest of Klal Yisrael, that the self-appointed chief rabbis of Israel are trying to make themselves some kind of Jewish pope, which they're not. And when it comes to matters of conversion and so forth. And yet when it comes to this issue, which matters to a lot of people, he's kind of pontificating himself, and I'm upset at him about this. I respect him otherwise, I like him, and I support a lot of what he does, but it's wrong to with this area to try to use government to enforce a particular type of education because that's his opinion. He has the right to his opinion as far as secular education, but he has to recognize that the Satmar community and the Lubavitch and whatever else, Pupa, Vez, Krasna, they have their right to do things their way, just like he has the right to do things his way. And he recognizes that when it comes to issues of conversion, that the chief rabbis of Israel have no business telling him what to do when it comes to conversion. He should recognize the same thing here. He knows better. Maybe he needs to be woken up about this, but that's how it is. Now, when it comes to these other issues here, so it's the same thing here. If you want your children to have more English education than they have in the school where they currently go, you have a few choices. You can homeschool them for English and send them, let's say you're not prepared to serve them with what they have with the religious studies, but you can homeschool them with the English studies, or you can hire a tutor for the English studies, or you can send them to a different yeshiva, or you can open your own yeshiva, and nobody's forcing you to be Jewish. You can go join a different religion. It's a free country, But you can't bring the government in here with this issue. That's not their business to say that what this rabbi says, what Rabbi Angel says should apply to the Satmar that have nothing to do with him, and that he disagrees with them in other issues as well. He disagrees with them very strongly when it comes to Zionism, and so it's the same thing, and they disagree with him, and this is America. We're not beholden to the chief rabbis of Israel, so-called, or to the RCA, or to anybody. We're not even beholden to our own rabbis. A person's personal religious views are his own personal religious views, and the government cannot tell us what to do. And so if you want something different, like I know in Lubavitch, they don't have any English. Satmar, they have English. Lubavitch, they don't. But we don't see people picking on Lubavitch because it's really about politics. But I know Lubavitch and Hasidim, they hire tutors for their kids for English, and the Zoygaitas, meaning they want this type of a chinuch when it comes to Yiddish, and they hire a tutor for English. It's the same thing. If you want more English, you hire a tutor. You can, I taught English in Satmar, and we did everything legally. But I taught English also in other yeshivas that did more. Even you could get a Regents diploma. There's no requirement to get a Regents diploma. So I taught in Tells, and there was one boy who his mother wanted him to go ahead a little bit. So he took the Regents test on his own, and he didn't have to take it in school. He did it on his own. You could do the same thing. You want your kids to have this education. You want to have your cake and eat it too. It's possible, And so when I say to this Rachel Lieber that she should go convert to another religion, it's not because she wants her kids to have more English. Because hate, you're welcome to have more English, but to drag the government in, that's Masira. That you're chayiv misa. That's a horrible thing. It's a disgusting thing, and there's no words to describe how evil it is to drag the government into that. That's the problem. It's not the issue of more English. It's the issue of Masira. That's the issue that we have to be concerned about, and there's no place in our community for Masira. I'm sorry. That is, and for those who are saying, that I'm fear-mongering, it's a slippery slope, I'm not fear-mongering. Because there were, first of all, like they have in England, what's going on right now, there are government officials who would like to do the same thing, to force whatever it is, sex education, LGBT, whatever it is, things that we don't want. It's not just about English, it's about evolution, whatever, all these different things that they want to push. It is a slippery slope, and it's more than that. It's not just the Jewish community. When they get their way with us, we're an easy target. We're the canary in the coal mine. They're going to come next for the Christians, for the Muslims, for everybody, for the Sikhs, for everybody else. This is about protecting religious freedom for everybody, because this is what the Democrats want to do. And so we got to be very careful about it. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Gesundheit. Go open your own yeshiva. You want a Hamish Satmar style yeshiva where they have more English? Go open your own yeshiva. Nobody will stop you. This is a free country. And if people give you peer pressure not to do it, you don't have to give in to the peer pressure. But, they can, you don't have to give in if someone's harassing you not to do it. But this is the answer. Not to get the government to force it. Because that's Masira. That is someone who engages in Masira. This is what the issue is. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you.